156. Rumble. The chord of life struck out. The endless majestic golden energy all condensed into pieces at this moment, forming an unstoppable torrent that rolled forward. The entire universe was shaken by the wind with his shot. The breath emanating from it seems to be able to directly disintegrate all the existence in the universe. Everyone, at the moment they felt this terrifying decomposition aura, felt that Chen Tian might not have time to copy the ability this time, and he would be directly shattered. Poto. Chen Tian had already successfully copied this element of the life cord disintegration and bombardment at the moment when the monster-killing cord had just struck. The moment the copy was successful, he felt that the surging energy in his body had already been reached, and he had actually raised another dimension. From the multi-universe level, truly to the almighty universe level. In a flash, Chen Tian only felt that the energy coming towards his paving, the destructive power generated within it, was no longer so terrifying. Thanks to the all-round energy sent by the life cord. He felt the energy in his body that had risen to a dimension, and his eyes lit up. However, the next moment, Chen Tian was pleasantly surprised to find that the improvement in his body was far from over. As the energy contained in his body became a giant star, the new bloodline that he copied from Integrate before began to evolve wildly at this moment. Become incredibly violent and agitated. Chen Tian's new bloodline is a Kryptonian bloodline, an Immortal Hulk bloodline, and 2 Asgard bloodlines. These bloodlines are all existences with unlimited potential. It can be said that even if Chen Tian does not copy ability, he can grow to the level of an all-powerful universe by relying only on the growth brought by his bloodline. Definitely, its master takes a lot of time. And now, after Chen Tian directly hit the almighty universe level, his bloodline still shows no signs of exhaustion. On the contrary, it continues to improve. Moreover, as Chen Tian's strength became more powerful, his bloodline belt speed increased by more than several times compared to the original. The bloodline he possesses, that's it. As the strength becomes stronger, the speed of improving the strength will become faster. In other words, even though Chen Tian is now another powerful almighty universe level, he is still getting stronger every minute and second at a speed visible to the naked eye. I don't know if I can grow to the level of OAA after that. Chen Tian couldn't help but think with joy in his heart. Thoughts are not falling. He slowly raised his eyes and looked at the golden torrent that was coming towards him on the opposite side. However, let's solve this farce as soon as possible. Chen Tian muttered. Slowly raised his hand. Airplanes. The next instant, in the expectant gazes of all the Avengers and the people of the Divine Court, his palm also instantly condensed a golden energy mass that was permeated with a molecular-level disintegration aura. The former simply can't believe his eyes. Chen Tian, actually copied successfully. At such a doubt, the bottom of their hearts churned. Chen Tian shot. Rumble. The same roaring golden torrent burst into shape in the air with his movements, and bombarded out towards the golden torrent in front of him. The same majestic torrent of golden water contains enough energy to break down an entire universe into sub-powders. Wisps of terrifying energy, frantically flipping and stirring, are like monstrous waves, churning endlessly. Wrapped in endless power. Bombard forward. Rumble. The next moment, 2 molecular-level disintegration golden torrents collided violently. Advertisement. In a flash, heaven and earth are eclipsed. Endless golden aftermaths like tidal waves burst out in all directions. Where those aftermaths passed, no matter what kind of existence, they were instantly shaken into powder. Meanwhile, there was also a golden pillar of light, wrapped in an endless disintegration aura, rising into the sky. It passed through the atmosphere of the earth and shot into the king of the universe. Suddenly, the universe where the golden pillar of light passed was reflected in a dazzling gold. And all the planets, fixed stars, and scattered cosmic debris within 1 light-year of that pillar of light also shook at this moment. All the stars burst at this moment, turned into brilliant fireworks, in the boundless dark universe, grand bloom, like brilliant to the extreme. It projects a shattered breath with the ultimate beauty. Boom. After the two golden torrents bombarded each other fiercely. Even the ground under the feet of both sides suddenly shook, and a deep crack that was so deep that you couldn't see the bottom at all, spread out at this moment. Looking at the Earth from the universe, you can see a huge crack that is enough to separate the entire Earth, and suddenly spread on the Earth. Boom. In a terrible roar. The Earth actually directly cracked into two halves. As the shape of the Earth changes, the force field that has become solid throughout the solar system has also been affected. The 8 planets in the solar system all began to lose their orbits and began to operate in strange trajectories. Rumble. Merely. With the next instant. After the two golden torrents that collided violently dissipated in the air. Syllable. Chen Tian snapped his fingers lightly. The entire affected solar system was instantly restored to its original state. And the cracked Earth, like the movie played backwards, quickly healed together. This move, we took it, right? Chen Tian smiled at the life cord, who was also stunned in place because of the accident, and asked softly. The latter looked at Chen Tian's smiling face, and for a while, he couldn't say anything at all. He even has the potential of protégé. He can also copy the ability directly, even if it is another ability at the almighty universe level, it can easily withstand it. At the bottom of the life cord's heart, an extreme shock flashed one after another in an instant. As for the Avengers and the people of the divine cord, they were already completely dumbfounded. Even if it is another existence of almighty universe level, can't it help him? Ancient One Magician's previous smile stiffened on his face. She even felt that her heartbeat slowed down by half a beat, and every breath was heavy. And the expression on the face of God King Odin, which is also extremely ugly. At the moment when the tentacles of the life cord just now, he even felt that he saw Chen Tian finally erased. However, reality speaks so mercilessly about its cruelty. Chen Tian still easily copied the ability of the most powerful god in the multi-universe. What kind of existence is this? How did he do it? An earth creature should always have a limit, right? How can even the ability of Lord Lifecord be copied? God King Odin felt the collapse of the heavens and earth, and as the Lord of the 9 realms, it was the first time he had made such a gaffe. At this moment, he still has half of the majesty of the past. It is clearly no different from the frustrated middle-aged people who can be seen everywhere on the street. And Dark Doctor Strange, Captain Marvel, and everyone else fell into extreme silence. Advertisement. Each of their brains fell into sluggishness. It was simply unimaginable that Chen Tian could even resist such a terrifying might. Charles looked at the earth that shattered after the impact and recovered in an instant, and was quite embarrassed. It's a showdown between gods. He muttered. Humph, we mutant, there is also a level universe god. The expression on Magneto's face was unusually relaxed. Anyway, I already feel that enough. I just don't know what kind of moves that Lifecord will have next to deal with Chen Tian. Phoenix was relieved to see Chen Tian take the other party's first move unharmed. It's just that, in the blink of an eye. Her big bright eyes once again brought a bit of deep worry. I think we just need to continue to believe in Chen Tian. Wolverine took a deep breath. The Storm Girl beside him, on the other hand, was already holding his hand with some concern. I hope Chen Tian can spend safely. Flicker and Shadowcat Katie, also tightly interlocked, followed her lips to pray for Chen Tian. The other side. The court of life also became solemn at this moment. The expression on that vengeful face became more and more hideous. Chen Tian. You remind me of an existence that I hate. He spoke slowly. So. There are 2 more moves, do you want to continue? Chen Tian knew that the other party said that there was none other than protege. But he didn't care, but slowly spoke. Naturally, it will continue. The life court looked at Chen Tian solemnly, and raised the people again. You have her shadow on you, and I suffered a lot of losses at her hands at the beginning. When Chen Tian heard this, he raised his eyebrows. It seems that protege's shadow on the court of life is really thick, and the latter does not even want to mention her name. However, Chen Tian doesn't care about that. Through superbrain, he instantly analyzed that the court of life suffered a big loss in protege's hands. It seems that it has been specially prepared for a presence like protege, and a killer app. However, it is not surprising to think about it, after all, protege almost lost half his life in the court of life. TT. Is he going to use a killer app for protege on me? Chen Tian narrowed his eyes and thought with some alertness. The next moment. Second move. Airplanes. The indifferent voice of the court of life sounded in Chen Tian's ears for a moment. Chen Tian felt the space around him, twisted in a crazy fold. Followed by. He found that his body, like an eraser, was constantly elongated, deflated, and rotated. Around the body, there began to be more space barriers like the inner walls of diamonds. Through these translucent spatial barriers, Chen Tian was shocked to find that he was now moved into a very small independent space. Meanwhile, sealing his independent alien space, there is more than one layer. Instead, the infinite number of layers overlapped each other, forming an endless existence like a labyrinth. This is a prison with multiple dimensions stacked on top of each other. The edges are almost endless. Moreover, the dimensional space formed by each participant seems to be completely different in nature. The same constitutes a complex existence similar to the Lubin lock. Simply by sabotage, there is no way to get out. Moreover, in such a space, it seems that time has also lost its meaning. Chen Tian wrinkled his brows and slowly judged, moreover, there is no direction at all. Advertisement. It seems that this is the court of life, a prison specially built to deal with an existence similar to protege. And I felt that when I was teleported here, that guy in the court of life. And covered my eyes. When I think of this, Chen Tian's face showed a smug smile. It seems that the guy in the court of life thinks that my copy ability, trigger, is the same as protege. You need to see with your eyes to replicate ability. He smiled weirdly. Although Chen Tian and protege also have the ability to copy, and they are directly copied, they can be used directly without restrictions. But there are differences. That is, protege copies the other party's ability, which needs to be seen with its own eyes in order to copy. And it was precisely because of this weakness that protege was later found in opportunity, blindfolded and unable to replicate ability, and then sealed in the endless hourglass. But the condition for Chen Tian ability to launch is to feel the other party's ability fluctuations. Not needed, the eye sees. Just when Chen Tian felt the multi-dimensional superimposed prison aura of alien space around him. Battle detected, rewarded, multidimensional space overlay, court of life. Copying the sound of abilities prompt, it sounded in Chen Tian's mind. I'm so sorry. Chen Tian felt the spatial ability and majestic knowledge coming out of his mind, smiled softly, and raised his hand. The next moment. Then an endless spatial power erupted in his hand. Since multidimensional space can be superimposed, it can naturally be unraveled. And the moment Chen Tian copied the relevant ability of the life cord, he could command this ability like an arm, as if this ability was mastered by him after countless hours of practice. Click. Momentarily, though, the densely packed prison that was superimposed by countless dimensional spaces was easily unlocked by Chen Tian. Whew. Then, Chen Tian had just disappeared a few breaths after disappearing on the Marvel main universe Earth before reappearing in front of the Court of Life and others. The life court felt that the multidimensional alien space prison it had constructed was unexpectedly cracked in this way, and suddenly it was 3.8 white, and Chen Kai copied his ability again. But didn't I already obscure his view when I teleported him? How did he do it? His heart was filled with endless doubts for a while. Could it be that his ability is actually different from Protégé? Damn it! How could this happen? Time. Even the life court standing on the multi-universe has a faint collapse in the bottom of his heart. But no matter how much he thought about it, he couldn't find the slightest clue. After all, the existence of copy ability, throughout the ages, has only been Protégé and Chen Tian. What is the difference between their abilities, he naturally can't easily think of. Subsequently, the life court quickly controlled his emotions and stared at Chen Tian. On the other side, the Avengers and the people of the Divine Court, seeing that Chen Tian had easily cracked the offensive of the Court of Life again, for a while the expressions on the faces of every 10 people were difficult to see the extreme. Could it be that the fate of this universe will be handed over to Chen Tian in the future? Black Widow sighed weakly. The rest also sighed. Right at this moment, the life court, which was also silent, began to move again. You have now made 2 moves. According to the agreement, you still need to resist my move. He slowly raised his hand as he spoke. In an instant, there were infinite fluctuations, emanating from the air, and everything was crazy and distorted. Every star, every vast universe, began to flicker endlessly. Since I can't kill you directly, I can't banish you by building a multidimensional prison. The court of life was shaking, and the strange energy became more and more violent. So now, that's all that's left. 157. As the thoughts of the life court fell, the terrifying and strange fluctuations that erupted from its hands became more and more powerful in an instant. Everyone suddenly felt that everything they could see in their eyes was like a water surface, twisted madly. However, each of them did not feel the ground shaking, or other roaring sounds. It's just that everything in the eyes is swinging strangely. What will be the third move of the Court of Life? Time. With such a change, such a question appeared in everyone's mind. Ancient One Magician felt the change in his vision blankly, raised his eyes, and looked at the Court of Life, full of doubts in his heart. Previously, the direct attack decomposition, as well as the blockade and banishment of space, did not play any role. Now, what other move can handle it for the third time? She felt some despair in her heart at the moment. And the others, at this moment, did not figure out what means the life court was going to use next. Then, mutants sighed. In the moment when that strange fluctuation appeared, Charles and Phoenix looked at each other in amazement, both seeing shock in each other's eyes. This is, the 2 men said in unison, mind ability. Both of them are mutants with powerful mental abilities. Therefore, he was very sensitive to the spiritual fluctuations in the air, so he reacted at the first time, and the life court actually used the mind ability. Is he ready to directly change Chen Tian's thinking? Moreover, why did his mind fluctuate so quickly? In just a split second, everyone was enveloped. Doesn't it mean that including Chen Tian, he was also affected by the spiritual fluctuations of the life court? Time. The expressions on both of their faces became horrified. The court of life actually plays yin. Unexpectedly, at such a fast speed, the spiritual calendar was diffused. And as the voices of Charles and Phoenix spread, the others around also understood what the life court had done. That is to directly use the ability of the mind and want to change Chen Tian's mind. Moreover, it may be because the spiritual ability of the life court is too powerful, and everything present is directly shrouded in his spiritual fluctuations in an instant. There is no chance of reaction at all. Doesn't it mean that the current Chen Tian, 19, has changed his mind? What is this? The young Shadowcat Katie endured the distorted space in her field of vision and cried out in surprise. and in the bottom of others, there was a burst of worry. I didn't expect that the other party would use such a method. Chen Tian's ability is to copy, but you have to give him time to react. With such a rapid spiritual ability, spread out, isn't it possible that whether Chen Tian copies it or not, his thoughts have been controlled? Come to think of it. All mutants quickly set their sights on Chen Tian. Everyone's face was covered with worry. And the Avengers and the Divine Court over there. Naturally, they heard Charles and Phoenix. Immediately brightened. It turned out to be mind ability. Lord Life Court was able to envelop Chen Tian at such a speed beyond his speed. Other words. Now Chen Tian has been controlled, right? Even if it only affects the other party's thinking a little, it can make him leave this universe directly. Thinking. Ancient One Magician and the others also looked at Chen Tian expectantly. Advertisement. I saw Chen Tian standing expressionless, not making any movement at all. It worked. Ancient One Magician couldn't bear to let out a surprise exclamation, his eyes shaken from excitement. Finally dealt with Chen Tian? Others swallowed their spit one after another, trying to know what the outcome was. Just now, Lord Life Court was able to radiate spiritual fluctuations at such a fast speed. I'm afraid that Chen Tian didn't have time to make any resistance, so it was directly controlled. God King Odin also said with great anticipation. Meanwhile, there was also a rare little nervousness on the face of the Life Court. He made 3 moves. The first move, trying to directly erase Chen Tian, directly disintegrated his existence into molecules, failed. The second move, even if it can't be destroyed, then find a way to banish him to another independent space, and the captivity and banishment have failed. Then this last trick can only try to influence the other party's heart and change Chen Tian's mind. Moreover, the moment when the Life Court was casting the mind fluctuations just now, it even used spatial manipulation, directly shrouding Chen Tian. The Court of Life is sure that no matter who it is, it will not be able to react. Not even Chen Tian, who has divine speed. You, still lost. The Court of Life couldn't bear to mumble. However, next second, Chen Tian on the opposite side suddenly raised his head with a smile. I'm sorry, I still prevented this move of yours, Lord Life Court. As he spoke, the smile on his face was very rich, but there was a strong sense of sarcasm. I didn't expect that you would be so yin, and directly use your mind ability to control me. Chen Tian raised his eyebrows and smiled lightly. Moreover, your mind fluctuation speed is indeed fast, so fast that I can't react at all. Moreover, your psychic ability is the most powerful in the entire multi-universe, and even if I react, it is impossible to resist. Speaking of which, he paused, and then said with a smile, it's a pity. I defended myself. The voice fell. Battle detected, rewarded, Almighty Mind, Court of Life. Combat detected, rewarded, Space Arrangement, Court of Life. The copy ability prompt in his head sounded. Smell. Rao Chen Tian couldn't help but be afraid for a while. Fortunately, he didn't think he had the ability to copy it, so he didn't make any other preparations at all. As a matter of fact, Chen Tian has been around his body since he agreed to the gamble with the Court of Life, lined up with the dimensional teleportation power from the incredible person. Therefore, even if Chen Tian didn't react at all just now, those endless spiritual fluctuations that surged towards him were still teleported by him using dimensions and transferred to the boundless lonely universe. It didn't contaminate him at all. However, the Life Court did not feel Chen Tian's spiritual fluctuations, and understood that his third trick also failed. Suddenly let out a long sigh. Next second, the spiritual fluctuations that spread throughout the planet disappeared in a blink of an eye. In the eyes of everyone else, everything that was constantly swinging like water waves finally returned to calm. Ancient One looked into the distance, Originally in his field of vision, the figure of the teenager who was originally distorted like a wave, returned to its original relaxed appearance. Suddenly, the strength where he felt was violently pumped out of his body. His legs went limp, and he sat directly on the ground. Failed. Her eyes were blank and she muttered, "Will the entire universe be dominated by Chen Tian in the future?" It was also at this time that the rest became lost. Unexpectedly, they have tried their best to fight, but they still fell to such an end. Tony Stark looked at Chen Tian with complicated eyes. It's still going this far. Advertisement. He laughed bitterly at himself, our final ending. What will happen? Black and Doctor Strange's eyes were blank, still have nothing to redeem. Even if everything is paid, is it still uncontrollably developing in the direction of collapse? It's all pointless. Between his words, he seemed extremely lost. After all, Dark Doctor Strange, in order to resurrect his girlfriend, can be said to have paid everything. However, in the end, his girlfriend was not saved. Even the entire world he was in began to collapse and collapse because of his own influence. And this time, Dark Doctor Strange also feels like he's given everything he can. However, the ending never seems to have changed excessively. Everything is going to be destroyed. All the struggles we have done are meaningless. There's no point. Black Widow, who had also witnessed the destruction of his world, whispered powerlessly. And the Black Widow of the overworld hugged her tightly. Then, God King Odin looked at the Court of Life with serious eyes. Sir, so, in the future, will this universe belong to Chen Tian? His voice trembled a little. In the future, you won't be meddling in this universe. When the Life Court heard his words, it was silent for a moment. He glanced up at Chen Tian again. You win, according to the agreement. I will withdraw from this universe and leave it at your disposal without any other interference. He said. This statement came out. The Avengers and the people on the other side of the Divine Court once fell to the bottom. Odin, the God King who had just asked, couldn't say a word, like a cattle in his throat. The meaning of the words of the Court of Life is that the universe they are in the future will be completely dominated by Chen Tian. Give it to an existence that will destroy the multi-universe at any moment. In this way, what kind of fate they have in the universe is probably self-evident. And the other side. In Mutants' camp, a tsunami-like cheer erupted. They have finally won. Obtained the right to live freely in the main universe of Marvel. The mutants shouted, their eyes shining with tears as they looked at Chen Tian. Chen, thank you. Countless mutants actually thanked Chen Tian in unison at this moment. As for Chen Tian, he responded with a smile. Then, when he set his eyes on the group of Avengers and Divine Court warriors who were more mourning than their hearts died, they felt even more bitterly smiling. But from the beginning, he was not prepared to destroy anything. All he wants to do is bring his mutant companions and be recognized by his universe. However, others were hostile to him because they were afraid of his strength. This is really a big misunderstanding. Chen Tian sighed helplessly. However, he was not prepared to explain more. Anyway, their misunderstanding of themselves will definitely be eliminated in the following time. Come to think of it. Chen Tian slowly set his gaze on the Court of Life. So, Lord Life Court, it's time for you to fulfill the promise you promised. He laughed and said, this universe is now under my control. The Court of Life sinks. After a moment of silence, he slowly added, however, you must remember the promise you made, and you must maintain that this universe cannot collapse. Its nature. Chen Tian smiled and nodded. I said, I just want to go home, and I have no intention of destroying anything. Hear this sentence. The Life Court was a little uncertain about the words that came out of Chen Tian's mouth for a while. But advertisement. At this moment, he had already used his great means, and he was no longer ready to continue fighting with Chen Tian. After all, he had cast one of the four most powerful abilities in a row, and in different ways, he wanted to deal with Chen Tian. However, every trick did not succeed. That is to say, continuing to fight is just sending more skills to Chen Tian. And the Court of Life has already experienced protégé once, and naturally knows what it will be like if things go that way. Thereupon, he also simply chose to give in. In that case, from now on, I will leave this universe and give it all to you. See if you can keep this universe alive as you say. If you can't prove that you have a stable and balanced ability, I will still come and continue to provoke you. The Court of Life said. I don't think there's a problem. Chen Tian smiled and nodded, and the expression on his face was extremely relaxed. As his words fell, a huge amount of spatial rift immediately appeared in front of the life court, and he immediately stepped into the area. The entire behemoth body that exuded a golden luster, but 233 disappeared directly at this moment. Seeing this, Chen Tian closed his eyes. The endless majestic mental ability instantly covered the entire universe, and it was immediately determined that the pair had left this universe. In that case, it's time to reinvent this shattered universe. He muttered, feeling extremely relaxed, and finally dealt with all the cosmic gods he had been worried about before. Chen Tian then prepares to start reshaping the universe. And this matter, only after the departure of the life court, he can begin to move the people. After all, the other party is another peak existence at the almighty universe level. While he is staying in the universe, Chen Tian's temporary ability is not enough to reshape the entire universe with the Court of Life. And right at this moment, the eternity condensed by the endless galaxy of the body did not leave with the life court, but slowly floated in front of Chen Tian. This universe is actually a part of me, I am the embodiment of the universe eternal. He said slowly, but since Lord Life Court has made an agreement with you, then I have separated the entire universe from my body. Saying that, Eternal paused for a moment, and then looked at Chen Tian and smiled, I'm looking forward to what you can make this universe into in the end. If I could, I'd be interested in having an in-depth conversation with you. When Chen Tian heard this, he smiled gently, does one of the Wuyan gods eternal want to be friends with me? I don't mind. However, I still have some things to do next, and when I'm done, let's have a good chat. Getting such an answer, Eternal nodded, well, look forward to you coming to me. I thought of you to this extent, and I should know how to find me. The voice fell. The eternal body began to fade and then disappeared into the air. Chen Tian felt that the other party had left this universe. Looked at. He turned to look at the mutants with a smile on his face, now, it's our time. The first step of the mutant empire in the universe will begin here. Between words, Chen Tian gently raised his hand. Syllable. Snapped his fingers lightly again. In an instant, other majestic energies belonging to the almighty universe level suddenly spread out from him in an instant, shrouding the entire fragmented universe. Under the action of that huge terrifying energy, everything in the entire universe began to fold and twist rapidly, and everything that was turbulent and broken began to become stable. And quickly repaired and reshaped. Ancient One Magician and the others looked at Chen Tian blankly. Deep down, I thought about how the other party would deal with him. The next moment, airplanes. An infinite force of the almighty universe level instantly engulfed them. Everyone's body begins to undergo mysterious changes. Everyone gradually turned into golden light along with the entire universe all began to reshape. 158. Syllable. As Chen Tian snapped his fingers lightly, endless majestic energy spread towards the entire universe, which had been shattered by the battle between the gods. That vast and endless energy like a tide of water dispersed with a great heavy meaning. Like the softest hot spring, it incommodifies everything. Now Chen Tian has reached the almighty universe level, and the energy is almost endless, and it is very easy to encompass the entire universe. That stream of energy was like a big hand that had been warming all the time, gently caressing those broken starry rivers. Gently gather all the broken things together and straighten them out. Fang Cai's incomparably manic stars because of the advent of the court of life gradually became peaceful. At this moment, all the pain began to be slowly calmed down. All destruction is reversed at the moment, and the galaxy is bright. Under the comfort of this huge energy, everything that was previously disrupted in the solar system has also slowly recovered. Right at this moment, Ancient One Magician felt the vast energy coming towards them, and the expression on his face began to become terrified. Lord Life Court and Eternal Lord, have you just left this universe? Next, the entire universe will be reduced to a situation controlled by Chen Tian. Is he going to start liquidating us? She looked at Chen Tian, who was standing in place, releasing endless energy, and her pupils were constantly trembling at this moment. Even his voice began to tremble in horror. The expression on the face of the god King Odin on the side also became quite ugly. This Chen Tian, he has slaughtered a lot of lives before. If our universe falls under his control like this, I am afraid it will not end well. I'm starting to worry about the future. His tone was low. The expression on Dark Doctor Strange's face looked a little lost, but the matter has come to this, and in the face of such an ending, it is no longer something we can resist. After all, even Lord of Life Court and Lord Eternal were helpless in the face of Chen Tian. What we still want to do to him now is probably delusional. Everything is settled. When the words fell, Dark Doctor Strange sighed deeply uncontrollably. Full of loneliness. Captain Marvel, who had previously traveled through the universe, walked through infinite time and space, and saved countless planets, also converged the cosmic energy on his body at this moment and sat down on the ground. Feeling the majestic energy that wrapped him, his eyes were straight and speechless. Faced with such an ending now, her heart was filled with an indescribable sense of powerlessness. This sense of powerlessness even evolved into despair that made his mind think. And Tony Stark looked at Chen Tian seriously. He said he just wanted to have the right to live freely in this universe. Maybe the truth is that we were all wrong in the first place, and he didn't want to be an enemy of anyone. What Chen Tian has in mind is really as simple as he said, but to live stably. On the contrary, we have always been too hostile, so there are more and more contradictions. Say this. Tony Stark swept his gaze over the people around him. I found that many of them showed thoughtful expressions. But many more people were incredulous about what he said. Aware of this, Tony Stark continues, actually, I've been in contact with Chen Tian a few times before. I have to say that in fact, when there is no conflict, he is a kind guy. It's just that later, because S.H.I.E.L.D. had to deal with him, and more than once, he finally attacked SHIELD. Perhaps we misunderstood him from the beginning. Advertisement. The voice fell. Others still don't speak. Then Black Widow of this universe said, in that case, we are looking forward to what Chen Tian will do when the matter is over. If he really has no other ideas about destroying the world, then for us, it is a good thing. After all, now he has enough ability to compete with the gods. No matter what we think, the decision is already in Chen Tian's hands, and if he really wants to destroy this universe directly, we have no way to stop it. Even if we have any hostility towards him, it won't help. It's better to see what he will do later. The people around them, hearing Black Widow say this, laughed helplessly. There is indeed nothing wrong with what she said, that is, no matter what attitude they have towards Chen Tian, as long as he wants, he can easily destroy the entire universe. People outside, my thoughts, in fact, have no effect on Yang Tian. God King Odin also laughed self-deprecatingly, unexpectedly. I have paid for so long for the peace of the 9 realms, but in the end, I am still powerless. This feeling of powerlessness is really annoying. Hear him say that. Thor and Jathor both sighed helplessly. In the current situation, it is the God King who seems invincible to them, like a tree standing above the heavens and the earth, and in the face of such a situation, they begin to say that they are powerless, let alone them. Then let's just wait. Wait until it's over. Star-Lord T'Challa also said helplessly. When the observer Uruk came to him and said that he wanted to save a universe, he was very prepared. However, I couldn't expect the final result, but I started to do everything at all. This situation made him feel very powerless. It's also very uncomfortable. You know, in his world, T'Challa became the Star-Lord of their world after being taken away from Earth by mistake, and Courage did not inherit the throne of the Wakan dialect. However, T'Challa, who became Star-Lord, became the most popular Star-Lord in their world because of his strong leadership ability and affinity. Throughout the galaxy, his fan brothers are everywhere, and many universe overlords are even his brothers and friends. Even Thanos, because of the influence of Star-Lord T'Challa, began to love the entire universe and felt that everything was very good. No longer had any ideas about becoming the overlord of the universe, and even retired early, teaching all his power to his daughter Gamora. With this influence, when Star-Lord T'Challa first came to this universe with observers, he also felt that he could successfully change everything. The result was to make him face such a thing. However, because he came from other universes and had the character of a high leader, he actually began to doubt the necessity of his own behavior after he first knew Chen Tian's ability and what he experienced. After all, in his opinion, although Chen Tian caused a lot of destruction and massacre, in the end, everything was just a counterattack after being attacked. There is no need to have such malice towards him. Only, listening to the Avengers and others, constantly, how terrifying Chen Tian is. When he grows up, he will definitely cause the destruction of the entire universe, and Star-Lord T'Challa will feel that the other party is a big evil person who will destroy the entire multi-universe. It's just that from the situation behind. Chen Tian is indeed terrifying, outrageous. Even the power of the gods can be easily replicated, even the energy that destroys the multi-universe cannot stop him at all. It's just that Star-Lord T'Challa didn't find out that Chen Tian had the slightest intention of destroying the entire universe. Moreover, if he wanted to, he could have directly erased those present at the very beginning of the battle. However, Chen Tian didn't do that at all, just showing his power and then hoping that others would recognize him. And if he didn't do anything, the rest of this universe was estimated to directly kill Chen Tian. Just as Star-Lord T'Challa was lost in thought. Gamora, who inherited all the power of Thanos on the side, also spoke. Maybe there is a misunderstanding here. Advertisement. Do you feel it too? Star-Lord T'Challa turned his head and asked. Just as the two were talking, God King Odin then said, misunderstanding. What kind of misunderstanding will there be? Just as his words fell, the force that wrapped them up suddenly became stronger. The Avengers and the people of the Divine Court felt a strong slight warmth from it. Then, they were surprised to find that they had received various injuries in their bodies because of the battle, but they began to recover rapidly. Everyone hasn't had time to sigh yet. They found that the light that burst out of the energy suddenly became strong, occupying all their five senses. Meanwhile, from the perspective of the universe, you will find that in the entire universe, everything that was previously fragmented due to the battle of the gods has returned to its previous intact appearance. And the earth, which has become full of rifts, has also returned to its original appearance. It was restored to its original intact condition. As for those who had gathered to deal with Chen Tian's Avengers and the Divine Court, they had all returned to their respective places. The Avengers returned to the Avengers base. Those who came from the world of Ifs, except for Black Widow, whose world had been destroyed, returned to the original world. If Thor returned to his party, he was just thrilled by his previous experience, looking at the crowded party in front of him. Listening to dynamic music and various kinds of alcohol, I quickly recovered my mood and threw myself into the party in front of me. Star-Lord T'Challa and Gamora returned to the universe. Black Panther Eric also returned to his own world of Wakanda. The people of the Divine Court returned to Asgard. As for Dark Doctor Strange, he was sent back to Camartage along with Ancient One Magician. Everyone realized that it seemed that the Earth, and the entire universe had returned to its original form. Restored to a state where nothing had happened yet. On Earth, those who were worried because of the previous changes in heaven and earth froze. The military inspection bureaus of various countries and the people of the Meteorological Bureau unexpectedly found that all the indicators had strangely returned to normal. If it weren't for the above records, which showed the strange magnetic field and climate changes before, they would even suspect that what happened before was just a dream. The other side. Previously, because of the big war on both sides, it was fragmented, the surface of the Earth was swept away for thousands of meters, and the underground rock layers were shattered. It also began to look like going back in time. It began to return to its original appearance. Above the sky, all the broken clouds began to gradually take shape. At this moment, time has also returned to its normal appearance. The sun in the sky began to function normally. It's time for the afternoon. The setting sun hangs quietly at the intersection of heaven and earth, sprinkling the usual red sunset sun. The whole plain looks quiet and beautiful. The mutants behind Chen Tian saw the miracles that Chen Tian unfolded. Each one is amazing. At the same time, their gazes looking at Chen Tian's back flashed with a strange luster. Old. Did it? Advertisement. Charles has clearly lived for almost 100 years, and has spent almost all of his life fighting for the cause of mutant. Through countless hopes and disappointments, even despair. At this moment, there was no hope in his heart, replaced by incomparable joy. Because he knows that in the future, he does not have to continue to hope, but can witness some beautiful births with his own eyes. All hope has become reality, beautiful dreams. There is no need to continue to exist only in hope. He did it. And he did it. I said that kid will be able to do it. Wolverine Logan laughed happily, his eyes full of endless joy, and he cheered, hugging the Storm Girl in his arms, who was also full of smiles. Phoenix on the side also looked at Chen Tian with a flickering light in his eyes. This young man was full of brilliance in her eyes at this moment, incomparably dazzling. He was like a gift from the sky, given to himself that he had never dared to imagine before. Then, with his own strength, he broke everything that came to block him, like a miracle descended from a god. No, he is a god. Chen Tian can become the god of mutant. Chen Tian. Phoenix recited Chen Tian's name over and over again, and a pair of glass-like eyes projected endless light. There were also Twinkle and Shadowcat Katie, also holding hands and cheering with joy. At the same time, at night, he also looked at Shaozun, who was standing there with incomparable adoration. Magneto, the old mutant who has been carrying the entire mutant forward before, facing endless pressure, even feels a little trance at the moment. For a long time, he had to think about what the mutant would have to endure before the day they were truly free. Then, carry all the pressure and solve those things one by one. Magneto dreamed of the day when all the mutant children would be able to live freely. Don't walk on the road because you're a mutant and have to suffer strange looks for doing nothing. Don't be disgusted by everyone around you just because you're a mutant. However, even when he later took the mutants and established a utopia, he still felt that day was very far away. Chen Tian showed up. He carries the world on his shoulders and is malicious to everyone in mutant. Even if it was a god, he had not taken even half a step back. Chen Tian said that all the worlds should be rid of the demons against us mutant. I'm sure he'll do it. Magneto looked at Chen Tian with flickering eyes and muttered. He looked at Chen Tian's back, but he already saw Mutant's bright future in the light. This young man, at this moment, in his eyes, has completely become a powerful representative. Whatever he promises, he can do it. The other side. Chen Tian felt that the complete universe had been restored and nodded with satisfaction. Now I can easily reshape the multi-universe. Now it's just reshaping a monolithic universe, but it's a breeze. Between thoughts, he set his eyes on the mutants behind him, looking at the twinkle in his eyes. Friends, I do what I say, and we mutant will in the future have the right to live freely in all worlds. Chen Tian laughed softly. The voice fell. Bang! The entire plane, which had been restored, began to shake wildly. A deep roar suddenly reverberated from the depths of the ground. 159. Boom boom. With that terrifying tremor, it began to reverberate between heaven and earth. The mutants were suddenly like a great enemy, and they thought that it was another enemy, and attacked again. Wolverine Logan immediately lowered her center of gravity and raised her hand and extended her claws. Iceman Poppy raised his hand, and the whole surface of the person was covered with a layer of frost, and the flames in the palm of the burning man swayed. Around Phoenix's body, a thick phoenix force also erupted. The rest also put on a posture ready to fight. Merely. When they came back to their senses, they found that Chen Tian was still standing in place with a smile, and there was no nervousness at all. Everyone, don't be so nervous, there is no longer anything in this universe that can threaten us, he said with a relaxed smile. We will begin in this world and build the mutant empire that belongs only to us. There will never be another blind being that threatens our mutants' security, and from now on, we just have to live our lives the way we want. Chen Tian said. After speaking, he paused again. Definitely, true freedom is one that does not hinder the freedom of others. I hope you will remember the saying that everyone has the right to be free. The premise is that this freedom is not based on harming other people. From now on, you can live exactly as you want. It's just that you can't hurt anyone, otherwise. As he said this, Chen Tian's tone suddenly became serious. I will punish that person, which is the same place as everyone else. If you make a mistake, you will face punishment. This statement came out. All the mutants felt the terrifying pressure of the landslide. They couldn't help but take a step back. However, they naturally did not refute Chen Tian's idea. After all, what the other party said is also correct. The so-called freedom is not to let others bear anything for themselves, so that is true freedom. Child, I don't think you're wrong. That's what I've been working for. After hearing Chen Tian's words, the expression on Charles's face became more and more kind, and his smile became stronger. We mutants should not be special by birth. We should also live a normal life like other ordinary people, and chase our dreams normally. But it's also relative, and if we mutant did something wrong, we also need to face punishment. Between words, Charles looked at Chen Tian, and the praise in his eyes deepened. I know that you really want to build a true free country. 600 instead of letting mutant, above everything. As for Magneto next to him, he also smiled when he heard Chen Tian's words. I support your decision. He looked at Chen Tian and smiled. As a matter of fact, what he is pursuing is not to be able to have all the mutants and be able to live a normal life. However, no matter before this, he has made countless attempts. However, no matter what, humanity's fear of mutant has never disappeared. Now that I think about it, it's probably those people who feel that if mutant really gets out of control one day, then there is no way they can punish mutant. Now, mutant has Chen Tian. As long as he himself holds this idea, then true equality and freedom will surely be established. After all, Chen Tian has that ability. As for Chen Tian's desire to dominate everything, that's a joke. If he wanted to, it was just a thought for Chen Tian now, and it was not a difficult thing at all. So, Magneto also expressed his approval of Tien. The rest of the people naturally had no opinion about Chen Tian's thoughts. Advertisement. Definitely. Chen Tian also noticed that many young mutants felt disappointed after hearing their thoughts. If you feel that you have power, you should hurt other people. In this regard, Chen Tian raised his eyebrows, but did not say much. It is not incomprehensible that such a situation appears in people who are still young. And that's why Chen Tian needs to guide them. Subsequently, Chen Tian smiled, "Friends, next, let's start to meet the new era. It's our time at Mutant." The voice fell. Next second. Bang. On the plane that had been trembling before, a huge amount of earth bags suddenly arched. It seems that something huge amounts of things are beginning to grow rapidly under the plane ground. This is. Magneto felt the familiar aura emanating from under the ground, and his eyes widened. The bottom of the eyes is full of disbelief. The other mutants felt more or less the same way he did. Next second. Boom. The dirt bag that had arched high broke open. An extremely thick green vine broke through the ground and grew towards the sky. That huge amounts of vines grow extremely fast, but in a few, seconds, it has broken through the altitude of 10,000 meters. Meanwhile, at the top of the vine, endless oil began, out of thin air around the top, it was born, and then, at a very fast speed, condensed into a vast island in the air. Looking at the past from afar, it exudes an extremely vast aura. This is Utopia. Looking at the floating island that floated and condensed out of the sky in front of him, Magneto was so surprised that he couldn't speak. All the other mutants were also stunned in place. How did you do it? This utopia is even 10 times bigger than what we've lived in before. It's a land floating in the sky. After Cyclops subconsciously said this sentence, he withdrew his gaze and looked at the eyes of the others looking at him. Only then did I realize that I had said something extremely stupid. According to the ability shown by Chen Tian before, he can do this only by raising his hand. Chen Tian. It's so strong. Cyclops knew this was nonsense, but he couldn't help but sigh. The other mutants also began to look forward to the rest of their lives. Right at this moment, Chen Tian smiled and said, let's go up and take a look." The voice just fell. Everyone felt that everything they saw in front of them suddenly flickered. Then, they came straight to the huge amounts of floating islands. Looking at the tall buildings above, there are various terrains and landforms, and all kinds of buildings. The mutants all felt a trance. The island in front of them felt very familiar. Because when Chen Tian built this place, it was completely built according to the utopia he had seen before, on a 1-to-1 scale. Before, within the utopia, 6 different islands were also on this brand new island, and I got the original appearance. But, in essence, this new island also makes the mutants feel completely strange. Advertisement. It's going to be very safe, and no one will call here anymore. When you sleep at night, you don't have to be afraid of endless sentinel attacking here. Phoenix voiced his feelings. Flicker and Shadowcat Katie next to him stared at Chen Tian, and a pair of eyes almost dripped water. Chen Tian began to say to the mutants, guys, on this island, you have everything you can find on the whole planet, and then you can find where you want to live on it. Saying that, he paused, and then the smile on his face became even worse. Definitely, what I hope is not, because the family can live a completely safe and peaceful life. I just want to tell you that no matter what time, this island will be a retreat for everyone, and you will always be welcome here. Chen Tian's words clearly fell into the ears of everyone present. It's just that the scene I want to see is that we mutant will not be completely excluded by all the people on the planet. In the future, we can choose to live within a utopia, or we can choose to live in any corner of the world. We make friends and we don't get ostracized because of mutants' origins. We want to do any job, take on any profession, and we won't be embarrassed in the slightest because of our mutant identity. His voice fell. All the mutants immediately had expectant expressions on their faces. Everyone's eyes were filled with fascination. Chen Tian. How are you going to do it? Shouldn't it be a military suppression? Let the whole world identify with our existence. After Charles heard Chen Tian's words, a worried look couldn't help but appear on his face. Or do you want to use your mind ability to directly change the world's perception of mutant? He didn't worry at all if Chen Tian could do it to this extent. However, if that is the case, then it makes no sense. When Chen Tian heard the other party's words, he immediately smiled. No, Professor, you should know me. Directly pinched out trust, which is only used for the enemy. However, in the matter of mutants' peace, I will not do this, otherwise such freedom is completely meaningless. I'm going to get people from the bottom of their hearts to identify with us at mutant. Get such an answer. Charles nodded. Well, you know I'll trust you, but just now I'm just wondering what you're going to do. Chen Tian smiled. Then, to all mutant, he said, everyone, now you can go to this utopia and choose your favorite residence. You can make it your eternal belonging. Then, tomorrow, you can go and see the whole world according to your own mood. After a while, you can also travel to different worlds and see other worlds. The voice fell. All the mutants, without the slightest doubt about Chen Tian's words, began to cheer wildly. Everyone had an excited expression on their faces and called Chen Tian's name. Hearing their shouts, Chen Tian nodded. You can go to Utopia first and choose your own place. If you are not satisfied with anything, you can tell me. However, wait a little longer and you will get my good news. After speaking, Chen Tian. The body flickered and disappeared in front of everyone. Only one round of spatial fluctuations remained. The other side. At the moment. Inside the American White House. The parliamentarians who had gathered here before because they were dealing with Chen Tian were looking at each other, wondering each other what had just happened. They looked at the report of magnetic field changes sent by their subordinates, and they felt even more confused. All the data on the record, no matter what scientific method is used, is completely unexplainable, far beyond the understanding of these people. Right at this moment, Tony Stark came here. Upon seeing his appearance, all the American congressmen could not sit still, stood up, and asked him one after another. Tony, what happened on Earth before? All my memories are very clear, but everything that happened before has completely disappeared. We can't understand it. Advertisement. Where did that Chen Tian go? What's all going on? And in Tony Stark looked at the field, looking at his face one by one with a question mark, and suddenly felt a little hesitation. He didn't know what to say either. Then, a teenager's voice rang out. Guys, let me tell you everything. The next moment, Chen Tian's figure appeared in the White Room and stood in front of all the top members of the United States. See his smiling face. Everyone was flabbergasted. It's even Tony Stark couldn't help but take 2 steps back. However, when he thought of Chen Tian's strength, he shook his head helplessly. Are you Chen Tian? When Counselor Whitehouse saw Chen Tian's appearance, he still showed the air of a supreme leader and asked him a question. Hello, Mr. Senator. Chen Tian smiled at him in return. I'm here to inform you of something. Notices. Don't you think you're too arrogant with words like that? There was fear to the extreme, but turned into anger. The counselor couldn't help but say. Nature is not arrogance. Chen Tian smiled. But the congressman suddenly found that his thoughts turned into absolute sanity. He immediately sat down and snorted coldly, then I want to see what you are here for. Chen Tian nodded. Once again, I set my eyes on the field. Then, All the parliamentarians in the room suddenly found that their emotions did not have any ups and downs, and they were transformed into absolute reason. I think the real meeting still requires absolute sanity to complete. As for the despicable purpose of exploiting other people's emotional loopholes to achieve the goal, I don't matter. Chen Tian said. When the others heard this, they immediately realized that they were controlled by Chen Tian, and they were able to keep themselves absolutely sane. They should have been surprised, but because they lost their ups and downs, absolute sanity only made them marvel at Chen Tian's horror and power. And the next moment, in front of the eyes of all the American congressmen, a picture suddenly appeared. That's what mutants' future looks like after it integrates into Earth society. I am about to establish its mutant empire on Earth, and I hope that you will modify the decree law to treat mutant as ordinary people. Treat all equally. Chen Tian spoke slowly. Seeing those parliamentarians, they have come to their senses from the pictures they have shown them. Chen Tian smiled at them and asked, I don't think you guys should have any opinions, right? Meanwhile, Chen Tian's figure also appeared at the Supreme Conference of all countries in the world at the same time. In every room, the same thing happened. An hour later, all over the earth, news of the establishment of the mutant empire began to appear, as well as news that all countries have changed their mutant-related decrees. At the same time, there is another notice, please pay attention to your dream tonight. And when everyone did not understand what was happening, that night, after falling asleep, everyone had a dream in which the future after living in harmony with mutant appeared. Stay until the next day. Everyone realized that from now on, there was one more country that belonged to mutant. And, in fact, mutant became an equal race to ordinary people. The world has changed. 161. Chen Tian found that the picture of watching Jin and finally reuniting and crying because he broke life and death with his wife and children was not wavering. Even the person who couldn't cry was the underground emperor Jin, he who shocked the entire New York underground with one hand. If such a picture is placed in the eyes of others, it is a picture that is enough to shock people's hearts. No one would have thought that Jin He, who everyone talked about, would have such a tender side, like a tiger weeping. However, in the eyes of Chen Tian now, it is so worthless. My heart is becoming cold. Chen Tian was a little shocked to find out about this and narrowed his eyes slightly. Then, knowing and all-powerful, he instantly thought of the crux of such a situation. Now I'm so invincible. No one can stop me. He thought. Everything that others in the world cherish can be shaped by me with the snap of my fingers, and can be destroyed at the touch of a thought. All the courtship and separation of love have completely lost their meaning in my place. I can have it if I want to, and I can change other people's minds if I want to. At this point in his thoughts, Chen Tian's heart became heavy. I am beginning to become a true god. Out of touch with humanity. Thinking of this, his pupils began to vibrate. This is not what I want. If it becomes such an existence, what's the difference between that and an emotionless machine? Lose your humanity, that's not what I want. It is precisely because there is a need that it is impossible to have it, so that possession seems precious. If everything is too easy, then you won't know how to cherish it. Chen Tian's thoughts proceeded quickly, and all the complicated thoughts were completed in an instant. He set his gaze on the face of Jin, who had been kowtowing to himself. Feeling Chen Tian's gaze, Jin looked at Chen Tian with some confusion. Chen. No, God, my wife and children, when will the 8-7 mansions awaken? It's not that I doubt you. But seeing that they haven't woken up yet, I'm still a little worried. Chen Tian looked at his hesitant look and smiled gently. After I leave, they will wake up. Receiving such an answer, Jin He was relieved. And Chen Tian continued to ask, before I leave, I have a question for you. God, please speak. Whatever you want to ask, I will answer truthfully. And Hikaru said firmly. Chen Tian looked at each other. He knows that his current self, if he wants to, only needs to think about it, and he can think about everyone's thoughts. But if it's not necessary, don't do it. If so, Chen Tian will feel that such a self is no longer himself. So, he chose to ask, what do you want to do when they wake up? When Jin He heard this question, he was stunned for a moment, but he didn't expect the other party to make such a question. Chen Tian before, but in addition to explaining what he was in, he would not say anything more to himself. I never paid attention to my own thoughts. Therefore, such a problem appeared and he felt surprised. Definitely. Jin He faced Chen Tian, and did not dare to hesitate more. I didn't actually expect that I would come this far. But everything I had was ruined by my opponents. So, all I have left is revenge. So I swallowed up all the underground forces and became the only king of the underground. But now I understand that I just want to spend time with my family more than these empty things. When my wife and children wake up, I think I'll take my savings and go to a place where no one knows me to start my life again. When speaking of this, Jin He's eyes began to show a look of yearning. Such a feeling, he didn't know how long he hadn't seen it again. Because, before Jin He no longer knew what else he wanted. The only thing you can do is to fill your wealth constantly. Advertisement. Beauty, money. All the material, the life that ordinary people can't believe in it, he has at his fingertips. However, now Kim also found that all he wanted was a stable family, and then watched his children grow up. That feeling. The kind of life that most people can have. After losing my wife and children, I found myself out of reach. Jin He said emotionally, but now, God, you gave me this opportunity, I will cherish it. If you need it, I'm willing to give everything I have to you. In the last sentence, he said without care. However, when Chen Tian heard the other party's words, he smiled. Money? For me now, it doesn't make sense at all. I'm sorry, I blasphemed you. Jin was suddenly a little panicked. It doesn't have to be. Chen Tian said softly, the answer you gave me is enough. Mr. Jin, I wish you a happy life in the future. After speaking, Chen Tian's figure distorted slightly and disappeared in place. Meanwhile, inside the carriage, Jin's wife and children, who had been closing their eyes, also slowly opened their eyes. Jin He, why are we here? Dad, aren't I lying on a hospital bed? The two woke up and looked at Chen Tian, a little dazed at first. And Jin He was stunned for a moment, with gurgling water on his cheeks, but squeezed out a bright smile. Welcome home. The other side. Chen Tian did not leave immediately after saying goodbye to Jin. Instead, he levitated above the height of Jin's vehicle, overlooking an excited Kim, and hugged his family tightly. People always pursue what they can't have. He thought, and now me, is there anything I can't have? Perhaps, it is a mortal heart that is constantly lost as its power expands. I want to keep my humanity. After all, what you can't get is for pleasure. And I can only keep my humanity, and the regiment will have happiness. It's a good target. After making such a decision in his heart, Chen Tian suddenly laughed. He felt joy. That joy that comes from the heart. Thoughts fall. Whew. Chen Tian's figure flickered, truly leaving the sky over New York City. Time passes slowly. The Mutant Empire, Utopia, in one of the very ordinary-looking houses. Wanda sat behind the dining table, the expression on her face was surprised. Chen, you said you were going to college with me. What's wrong? I'm actually only a year older than you, what's wrong with school? Chen Tian gulped down the meal Wanda had prepared for herself, and raised her eyebrows very naturally. Wanda stared at him. A pair of big eyes revealed a very serious look, and his gaze swept back and forth on Chen Tian's face solemnly. Then, Past burst out laughing. Blushing. Okay. I don't know why you made that decision, but I think you must have a reason for doing it. 17. Wanda said word by word, and, I can feel it, you seem very happy when you make this decision. Chen, do you know that although you always have a smile on your face recently, I always feel that your smile is not so flat? And when you made this decision, I found that your smile was genuine. In that case, my definitely is happy too. The smile on her face grew stronger, and a pair of big eyes seemed to shine with stars. Advertisement. Wanda said, paused for a moment, and Past laughed again. Then he looked at Chen Tian obsessively. If it weren't for what you said, I would have forgotten that you are only a year older than me. Before you always gave people the feeling that you could easily solve anything, and you looked like an adult. I'm happy to go to school with me. Finish speaking. The smile on the girl's face became brighter. It can be seen that she is very happy with Chen Tian's decision. After all, the latter is not only able to accompany themselves. More importantly, it can make Chen Tian laugh happily. Wanda couldn't be more in favor of this. Good. Chen Tian looked at the girl opposite and smiled too. 2 days later. Together, Chen Tian and Wanda decided to go to a university in New York. It is worth mentioning that Chen Tian did not directly use ability to solve the problem. Instead, he passed the path of Jinhe and completed the enrollment. When Chen Tian found him, the majesty of this underground king became a little softer. And I often have a smile on my face. At the same time, he has just begun the process of separating the underground world from himself. Kim and his Hell's Kitchen are a behemoth in America. If you want to really get out, you still have to do a lot of procedures, but it will not be so simple. However, Chen Tian believes that with Jin's ability, if he has the intention to withdraw, it is estimated that no one can stop him. It's the Marvel Universe, and there's one less villain again. Spider-Man and Daredevil, there will be one less big enemy from now on. Chen Tian suddenly thought of this, and his expression looked a little strange. Subsequently, with the help of Jin, who has not yet retired, Chen Tianli received an acceptance letter from New York University. Fast forward to January. In the days approaching the start of school, Chen Tian and Wanda went to rent a replica house not far from the school. While renting an apartment, Chen Tian recalled the same rental experience in order to get closer to Superman. At that time, he hadn't even had time to attend a class at the Metropolitan School. I haven't been to Catwoman for a long time, but I have to find time to go again, he thought. Then, Chen Tian followed Wanda to buy everything he needed for a new home. After a little arrangement, the originally empty room has a bit of a warm little home. It has to be said. In addition to Scarlet Witch, Wanda also has very good potential to become a good wife and mother. In the few days when he moved into the new house, Chen Tian rewarded the little girl well. Until the start of school is approaching. Like other ordinary students, the two got on the school bus to pick up and drop off the school. As soon as Chen Tian got into the car, he saw someone who surprised him. A fat black man exudes an aura that is incompatible with the people around him. Isn't this Spider-Man's good friend Ned? He thought a little unexpectedly. And when Chen Tian's thoughts were on which black little fat man. Wait. The others in the car set their sights on him and Wanda. When all the girls saw Chen Tian, who was as rich as jade and had a fluttering temperament, their eyes couldn't help but brighten. Even feel that as long as you have intercourse with such a man once, this life is enough. Let them pay whatever it takes. Advertisement. The other male classmates in the car first set their eyes on Wanda, attracted by the beauty of the girl, and immediately felt that such a beauty, no one deserves to blaspheme. Immediately, he felt who the boy next to him was, and he was so lucky. With this thought, the boys turned their attention to Chen Tian. And then, I feel that such a man, having such a beautiful woman is a definitely thing. After all, Such a boy, whether it is appearance or temperament, all the details tell his nobility. The boy in the car, the moment he saw Chen Tian, he didn't even feel inferior. Because the so-called comparison will only appear when you are with people who are not far apart. For example, a person with 1 million will compare with a person with a value of 1.2 million, where he loses to the other party. But people with 1 million will definitely not lose compared with those who have 1 million. Now, these ordinary boys in the car, seeing Chen Tian, this is how they feel. No matter from any point of view, Chen Tian and them are not a dimensional existence. There is no need to compare at all. Even if Chen Tian's partner is a legendary goddess, it will not surprise them. Even, because Chen Tian's appearance and temperament are too top-notch. Many boys actually feel that the rest of them are not worthy of comparison with Chen Tian. The feeling that Chen Tian gives them has nothing to do with gender, that is, the absolute temperament and appearance, impeccable. Come to think of it, everyone in the car couldn't help but feel stunned after Chen Tian appeared. This. After Chen Tian felt the reaction of the others in the car, his expression couldn't help but feel strange. Now he will control the spillover of all his power in order to pursue ordinary feelings. Rao is so, is the breath emitted still enough to convince all the ordinary people he sees? Number 71. Forget about the woman. You guys are staring at me one by one, what's going on? Chen Tian's scalp suddenly felt numb. Then, not only did he converge his breath, but he even pressed down desperately, which made everyone in the car come to their senses a little and control their behavior a little. Many people noticed their gaffes and began to do their 2.9 things, such as singing and gossiping with friends, to cover up. Unfortunately, everyone still couldn't help but peek at Chen Tian. Noticing this, Chen Tian couldn't help but suppress his temperament again, so that everyone could completely control their behavior. He then dragged Wanda all the way to the back row of the car, where Spider-Man's good friend Ned sat down. Ned had just been one of the other people in the car, and when Chen Tian sat next to him, he was cheeky, but he was reflecting on whether he deserved to sit with such a person. Rise. Ahem. After watching Chen Tian sit steadily, the driver of the car came back to his senses and cleared his throat. Okay, we're ready to go. Then. Please wait a minute. A hurried figure hurriedly ran over from the rear of the army. Chen Tian looked at the owner of the figure from the rear view mirror, and couldn't help but raise his eyebrows. Peter Parker. When he whispered the name, everyone in the car couldn't help but prick up their ears. And the driver of the car that was originally going to drive also controlled the accelerator that was just about to step on. Peter Parker got into the car safely. Then he noticed Chen Tian sitting in the back of the car, and couldn't help but look at it twice. When he lowered his gaze again, he was surprised to find that his classmates who hardly treated him on weekdays had silently given up their seats next to them at this moment. What's going on? This abnormal scene surprised him. However, as long as it is a normal person, they will not imagine that because another person pronounces his name, he will receive unexpected preferential treatment. The other side. Chen Tian looks at Peter, who got on a school bus with him. Parker, frowning in deep thought. How so? He thought too. 162. How so? Right at Peter Parker passed in front of Chen Tian worriedly, and when he sat next to his friend Ned, he couldn't figure out what was going on. My new classmates in college are so kind and willing to share seats with themselves. And there will be such outstanding classmates. However, even if Peter Parker was full of doubts in his heart, but in order not to gaffe in front of the extremely outstanding new classmate, he still held back his usual broken mouth and sat down obediently without speaking. And Ned, who was also active, also held back his excitement and quietly did not speak. Thereupon, the school bus fell into an eerie silence. The school bus driver also changed his usual impatience, like a great enemy, and held his steering wheel more safely than ever. I am afraid that my incompetence will cause the outstanding person to be bumped. The others also stopped talking at this moment, for fear of disturbing Chen Tian. Definitely. Chen Tian has not revealed his mutant empire speaker in front of the public. It is only because of the 1000th majesty that originally accidentally displayed. But now Chen Tian has converged his temperament a lot, and if anyone sees him again, the same thing will not happen again. At best, you may feel that he is slightly superior, but you will not feel that he is completely above everyone. Meantime, Chen Tian was also surprised in his heart. How could he meet Peter on the way to the university? Parker. After all, the other party became Spider-Man in high school. And the other party and Ned did not go to the same university. However, after Chen Tian's observation just now, he found that at the moments Peter Parker didn't become a Spider-Man. It seems that this universe has changed to some extent because of what I did. He thought silently. But not being in today's world to be a Spider-Man isn't a bad thing for Peter Parker. As Chen Tian came to such a conclusion, he collected his thoughts and did not continue to think about anything. Gently holding Wanda's hand, she walked all the way to the campus. And the process of reporting is also 21 very smooth. The senior brother and sister who led the way showed 10,000 points of enthusiasm, because the two were guiding. Even many times, I hate to let Chen Tian and Wanda do well, they do everything for Chen Tian. In this regard, Chen Tian silently judged, it seems that the breath I exude still has to continue to converge. Subsequently, he continued to converge the aura he exuded. After completing the freshman report, those senior brothers and sisters warmly invited Chen Tian and the two of them to attend the welcome party for new students. Wanda silently looked at her classmates who were extremely enthusiastic about them. I knew that this was all Chen Tian's beauty. Because not only female students, but all male students, many times do not look at themselves, but stare at Chen Tian. But Wanda also noticed that when they looked at Chen Tian, they didn't have other thoughts. It's more of an instinctive desire to do things for Chen Tian, and a desire to get the other person's gaze. That is the most instinctive Mujiang. Even now Chen Tian has converged his breath. Wanda has no other ideas for this, though. Chen Tian is respected by others, and she is happier and more proud than anyone else. Then, want to go? That party? Chen Tian asked Wanda softly, after you come to college, you should put your children on a different way of experiencing life. Okay, I'll listen to you. Wanda doesn't have a sword on this. What Chen Tian says, she listens. Great, classmate Chen. And Wanda-san. The boys and girls who were watching Chen Tian around couldn't help but be excited when they heard Chen Tian nodding and agreeing to participate in the orientation party. No way. Advertisement. Even if Chen Tian did not indicate any identity, just exuding a little kindness would make these ordinary people feel instinctively sinking. Definitely, he didn't go to do that. When he found that even if he didn't do anything, it would affect other people, Chen Tian was already desperately suppressing his breath. He didn't really want such special treatment. When I came to university, I just had a normal life. Otherwise, it will not be the turn of these ordinary college students to flatter. Helplessly thought. Chen Tian collected his breath again. Later, after thanking those seniors, he left with Wang Tian. Then, Chen Tian had almost completely converged his breath. Looking at him again at this moment, although he still feels that this teenager has outstanding appearance and temperament, he will no longer be affected by his mind. It seems that I have been too far away from the world before. Fortunately, I made such a decision, and once again let me find the ordinary feeling. Chen Tian sighed helplessly. Before, he really thought that he had converged his breath to an extreme. Lower than dead man. Where to think, it will still cause such a big impact. However, after some contact with ordinary people, he still found the critical point of that breath. Walking on the road at the moment. Those people would never look at him with reverence again. I just think that Chen Tian is really handsome. Then, Chen Tian took Wanda around the college campus. It's not like when I entered the school with Dichao, I encountered a series of bloody things. Everything is perfectly normal. Except for the occasional encounter with mutant on the street who is integrated into society, he wants to salute himself. There are no other twists and turns. However, the current life is really beyond imagination. Wanda sighed as she passed by a TV store and watched the video showing mutants' participation on the TV screen. All this can become a reality because of Chen. The girl said with pride. I'm just giving all hopeful mutants a chance. To be able to seize the opportunity, we have to thank them for being ready all the time. Chen Tian said with a smile. Well, you always have a point. Wanda laughed. You can't always say that. How it feels like I'm there, you won't think about it anymore. Chen Tian raised his eyebrows. But I just think you have to be right. Wanda said weakly. You little Nizai. Chen Tian rubbed the other party's nose and smiled helplessly. The two strolled out into the evening and settled dinner outside. Later, I went to campus to participate in the orientation party organized by the student union. It didn't surprise Chen. This is the second time he has participated in the orientation party, and he has not encountered the same thing as when he participated in the orientation party before. It's a simple party. Once that's done, it's time for everyday campus life with Wanda. There are not many ups and downs. Duration. You will hear a lot of news about mutants' achievements in society. For example, there are many superstars with super abilities in the entertainment industry, or a certain mutant has helped the scientific research community to achieve great breakthroughs, and so on. And from the moment these news appeared, the whole world seemed to really start to understand mutant. They found that most of the mutants held themselves to a very high moral standard and really didn't cause trouble for anyone. There's even a lot of stuff to society, so I'm starting to really accept different mutants. Advertisement. Chen Tian is satisfied with this change. It seems that these mutants have finally understood the meaning of true freedom. He lamented. As for the Avengers, they have not disappeared, but as many mutants have spontaneously become vigilantes to maintain world peace. New York's crime rate has indeed dropped considerably. Meanwhile, Chen Tian also noticed that within their university, it seems that Peter, all of Parker's friends, have not disappeared. Peter, in addition to Ned, Parker met Harry Osborn, and Gwen, a girl with a crush on the car. Subsequently, halfway through their college life, Chen Tian's school received an invitation to visit the high-tech company Osborn. He hadn't used his ability before, and he realized it when he observed the development of events. Perhaps, some things have changed with his previous actions, such as Peter Parker, in college, had not yet become a Spider-Man. But, other than that, nothing seems to have changed. It seems that the Spider-Man of this universe is a collection of all versions of Spider-Man. Chen Tian looked at the conversation with Peter Parker's friends with Ned, Harry M. Osborn and Gwen, couldn't help but think dumbly. However, he didn't think much about it, just thought it was very interesting. Afterwards, on the school bus to Osborn, Peter S. Parker coincidentally sat next to Chen Tian again. In fact, except for the accident at the beginning of school, the two have not had any other intersection in the past half semester. After the school bus was halfway through, Peter Parker finally couldn't help but whisper hello to Chen Tian. Hey, Chen. Is there something going on? Chen Tian said with a smile. It's just. I heard Ned say that you called me by my name the first time you met me. Is that true? Peter Parker asked cautiously. No way, although the current Chen Tian has converged all the breadth to the level of ordinary people, but talking to him will still make Peter Parker felt a pressure from those in power. Yes, I actually followed Professor Parker before. I regret his sudden wreck. Chen Tian said. At this moment, he has determined that the Peter of this universe Parker is a synthesis of all versions of the universe, so it says. There are still people who remember my father. Peter Parker was a little surprised when he heard this, and then said, "Thank you." He was a man to be respected. Chen Tian said with a smile. Peter Parker fell silent. The two talked for 2 more words and did not continue. After all, Chen Tian no longer has the need to actively contact superhero, and the interaction with the other party is just out of politeness. As for Peter Parker, he felt too much pressure to talk to Chen Tian. Subsequently, the whole class casually entered Osborne's company and began to visit. When arriving at an exhibition area of steel spiders, the company employee in charge of greeting proudly said, "This is the result of our company's new research and development, mutant spiders. It can show itself more than itself. Tens of thousands of times the strength of the weight, and at the same time, the cobweb spewed out is tougher than steel." Saying that, he pointed to the transparent glass case. "Here are the 7 spiders developed by our company. Let's take a closer look, everyone." Then, some sharp-eyed students noticed, but there are only 6 spiders left in this cabinet. Oh damn it! The company staff immediately panicked. It must have sneaked out. This is a major mistake. It seems that this visit can only end early. We have to close the company. Go catch that spider. Thankfully, the locator shows it's still in the company. And just when everyone's attention was on which company employee spoke, Chen Tian noticed that the disappearing mutant spider had slipped through cobweb into Peter Parker's collar. Advertisement. He didn't stop it. In terms of the reason for his previous siege, this is the absolute point in time of this universe. It should not be changed easily. Definitely, even if it is changed now, it will not affect anything. Chen Tian has completely reinvented the ability. However, he felt that people with a mortal mentality should not interfere with these interesting things casually. Then, when all the students were about to evacuate, Peter Parker suddenly covered his forehead in pain, and his whole person looked groggy. Everyone else panicked and quickly went to help him, and then found that Peter Parker's body temperature had become terrifyingly high. Hurriedly sent it to the hospital. Except for Chen Tian, he didn't panic at all. 323 He knew that this was a sign that this world would once again usher in a superhero. As for the mutant spider that bit Peter Parker, it crawled out of his collar and silently returned to the ceiling without everyone noticing. "Spider-Man is going to be born," Chen Tian said with a smile. Sure enough. The next day, Chen Tian met Peter Parker, who was renewed. He took off the thick-lensed eyes that he always wore, and at the same time, his posture, which was originally thin, became straighter. The temperament becomes completely different. But the others, looking at Peter Parker, just thought he was a little different. But I can't say exactly that. But Chen Tian knows that Peter Parker now has a power far beyond the limits of the human body. You can also climb walls like spiders. However, I don't know if this Peter Parker shoots cobweb directly through the wrist, or if he needs external equipment. Chen Tian thought. Today, all day long, I began to pay attention to Peter Parker's movements. I like to eat melons, which is also a very normal state of mind. It can be said that loving melons is a quality that most people will have. Then, Chen Tian saw Peter when Parker was in the restaurant. A stylish girl in front of him accidentally stepped on a banana peel, and the whole person was about to slip, and the tray in his hand followed. Food flew into the sky. Then Peter Parker easily picked up the girl and steadily brought all the food back into the tray, as fast as a spider. Just as he received the girl's grateful gaze. Peter Parker, however, panicked because of his changes, and retreated one after another. Then the spider's hand stuck to the other party and ripped off the girl's entire dress. The girl screamed. Peter Parker slipped away. He ran all the way to the basketball court, stood there and chatted with his classmates, and 10 basketball teams smashed the ball to him. He caught the ball without turning his head. Then, those who play basketball come up to provoke. Peter Parker frowned, jumped directly from the midline, boom, directly pinched the basketball, slam dunk, will the tempered glass ball board shock. Broken. When he fell to the ground again, he finally began to realize his change. Peter Parker ran out without looking back under everyone's astonished gaze. Time. His expression was also complicated. After being a little transparent for most of his life, he suddenly found that he was different, and his heart was extremely complex, excited, and panicked. He needs to run out and vent a bit. Take a good look at what is different in yourself. Chen Tian watched the other parties back running out of the campus and did not follow. He knew that Peter Parker was not yet a Spider-Man. Having ability is just a threshold for becoming a superhero, and after going through that event, Spider-Man is complete. Chen Tian muttered in a low voice. P.S. Everyone, watch the World Cup. Argentina is the champion.